It's no secret that Pokémon, despite its kid-friendly exterior, has a lot of mature adult content going on throughout its games, its anime, and more. So much so, in fact, that I have filled up 2 whole videos on this topic, and today it's time to complete the trilogy. We're talking about even more times that Pokémon got very adult, and trust me, we might have already done 2 videos on this, but there's still plenty of other juicy stuff to cover. So that's what we're going to be getting into today, which is literally all made possible thanks to the wonderful sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. If you want to keep yourself or someone you know looking as fresh as possible this holiday season, then Manscaped is definitely the way to go. Their Performance Package 4.0 has everything you'll need to be at the absolute top of your game for Christmas, New Year's, and beyond, and it all starts with the Lawn Mower 4.0. This trimmer is cordless, waterproof, and equipped with skin-safe technology to keep yourself protected from nicks and cuts while you're getting everything nice and trim. That's just the beginning though, as the Performance Package 4.0 also comes with the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray, as well as the Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer to keep you on point, trimmed up, and feeling great from head to toe. Manscaped can also hook you up with a multitude of other great products as well, such as the Shears 2.0 Stainless Steel Nail Kit, their new 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner, and even their own signature body wash, all of which are going to take your grooming game to the next level. You can pick up any and all of this awesome stuff with the link in the description, and when you do, you're gonna get 20% off your order when you also use code HoopsVGM at checkout. And just because Manscaped is awesome, you're also gonna get 2 free gifts with that as well: the Shed Travel Bag and Manscaped's very own anti-chafing boxer briefs. Again, check that out with the link in the description, and a big thank you to Manscaped for supporting the channel. So one of the ways that Pokémon likes to include mature adult content is through NPC dialogue. Sometimes it's subtle, and sometimes they just put it out there right in front of your face, but it always leaves you wondering, what the heck did I just read? Is this a Pokemon game? And one of those moments in particular happens in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. In Mauville City, there is a specialty mirror shop that basically serves as the location for you to obtain the Reveal Glass, which is what allows you to turn Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus into their Therian forms. If you talk to the lady who runs the shop, she'll tell you that her husband is the one who gathers all the mirrors, and then upon seeing you with one of the forces of nature in your possession, she'll recognize that and then give you the Reveal Glass, but not before saying, "Don't tell my husband." She then follows that up with this line: "I feel a bit bad for my husband, but items are useless unless you use them, right?" So basically, even though it's pretty subtle, this lady is making a joke about cheating on her husband, which is not what you would expect at all coming from a Pokemon game, but this is how Game Freak likes to do it. They'll include stuff that would fly over a kid's head and they wouldn't think twice about, but if you're an adult, you get a whole lot more out of the experience, if you know what I mean. And there are certainly plenty more examples of this happening outside of just this one. Another one of those examples occurs in Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, in Celadon City. Within the city is a hotel, and nothing of consequence really happens here, but you'll find a few people in the lobby. If you talk to the girl in the lobby, she'll say that she's on a vacation with her little brother and her boyfriend, and if you talk to the boyfriend, who's standing off a little bit over to the side, he'll say, Why did she bring her brother?" This is a joke that can be enjoyed on an innocent level for sure, but these two are at a hotel, they're dating, he doesn't want the little brother to be there. Any adult who reads that knows what's really going on here, or rather not going on, because this poor soul just got denied by his girl's little brother. And so by extension, the developers know what they're saying too when they put that in there, which just goes to show that Game Freak isn't afraid to get a little adult with Pokémon. Yet another one of these moments also occurs in Fire Red and Leaf Green, so apparently those games were actually pretty spicy, and I'm not even mentioning that crazy old pervert guy from Celadon City today, so yeah, these games really do have some adult innuendos going on for sure. The next one of these moments that we are highlighting occurs on Route 13, in between Fuchsia City and Lavender Town. Throughout the multitude of trainers that you can battle in this area, one of them is Beauty Lola, who, when you encounter her right before battling her, she will say, "Sure, I'll play with you, sweetie." Ma'am, are you aware that I'm 10? Again, this is not a line that you write as a developer and not recognize what you're insinuating with it. They knew what was going on when they put that in there, and they put it in there anyway, which honestly is surprising. Even though we've established that this is something the Pokemon does, having a lady very suggestively talk to me in a Pokemon game is always going to make me do a double take, and it's always going to surprise me how much mature content they really do include. The in-game quotes don't stop though, as in addition to just straight up adult dialogue, there's also just really weird dialogue that can put some strange things in your head. Something of this caliber occurs in Pokemon Sun and Moon, as in these games, within the Pokemon Centers there's also a cafe, where you can partake in a variety of tasty beverages. Watch out though, because if you order the Mumu Milk, the guy working there will give you your Mumu Milk, and he'll also give you a terrifying description of it, where he'll say, quote, "This milk is so mellow yet rich that it'll make you wish your mother were a Miltank." Excuse me? What? That is not how you talk to people. Miltank has already been in its fair share of precarious moments, so why do they insist on continuing to put it in the weirdest of scenarios? I don't need that kind of imagery in my head, and no matter how good that milk is, I am not going to wish that my mom was a cow. She's actually a very wonderful lady already, thank you very much. Now, as I mentioned, this is the third video in this series of adult Pokemon moments, and I have yet to hardly even touch on one of the most infamous recent adult moments. Once again, in Pokemon Sun and Moon, during Molos Trial, you engage in a cooking activity, and, well, you know what happens, and that's nothing short of one of the most suggestive, innuendo-filled sequences in Pokemon history. Press A to pound? Really? There weren't any other words that you could have used there? Thick club? Rare bone? The rare bone fills your whole mouth? Oh my word! In fact, Molo herself, who is the person who this trial is conducted by, is just really dirty in general. I hate to say it because she's adorable, but she really is. Like, look at this quote from the Paniola Ranch shortly before her trial. "It's so rich and creamy when you use it in white sauce and other things." Rich, creamy white sauce. Got it. And when she's saying all this, she's also talking about Mumu Milk. Like, what is it with this game and describing Mumu Milk in such a sexual manner? Like, again, you know what they're going for here, but my word, we don't need to talk about milk in such a promiscuous way. That's not what I picked up this game for. I guess it makes for a very memorable moment, to say the least, but my word. Also, shout out to this other treasure too, since Sun and Moon apparently just couldn't get enough of these kinds of moments. Speaking of Sun and Moon, this is a good opportunity to transition into the anime, because there's a pretty infamous moment from the Sun and Moon anime that tends to get shared around a lot, and that is this moment right here. Now, if you look closely, you might be able to see that it looks like something mischievous is going on here, which has caused this image to be shared around quite a lot. But this is actually the one moment in this video that is not Pokemon being adult, because this image is fake. This is what that scene actually looks like, and as you can see, Lana is actually behaving herself. I thought that this was worth pointing out since this is so widespread, so just remember to do your research on stuff like this. But awkwardly enough, there is actually something weird going on in this scene, because Lana isn't actually wearing her swimsuit here. We see her wearing it shortly before this scene when she's not in the water, but when she's in the water, you can clearly see that she's not wearing it anymore because the straps aren't on her shoulders anymore. That's most likely just an animation error, but since we were talking about this scene anyway, it's interesting to point out. This next one is so vile that it was actually barred from even appearing in the anime for that exact fact. In the third episode of the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, titled Loading the Decks, Team Rocket are looking for new Pokemon to add to their team when they happen upon Mimikyu. Mimikyu frightens the group and begins to talk to them, and when James asks Meowth what Mimikyu says, Meowth replies with, "This is a family show." So Mimikyu apparently said some vulgar stuff, because as we know, there are some adult things that are allowed in Pokemon, so whatever it said here must have been really bad. For real though, this is obviously just a joke, so it's different than the other points on this list, but it is technically adult content since Mimikyu apparently said something so awful that it couldn't even be translated, so I thought it was worth including. While that last example was more of a joke, this next one also comes from the anime, and it's legitimately questionable. Coming out of the Diamond and Pearl arc, Tanks for the Memories is an episode where Ash and the gang happen upon the cafe cabin that resides on Route 210, and in the anime, it's treated as a maid cafe. While nothing too racy happens in the episode itself, it's quite surprising that they actually made it into a maid cafe in the anime, because a maid cafe is something that actually exists in Japan, and the premise of these cafes is that all the waitresses dress up in maid outfits and essentially roleplay with the customers, treating them like their master instead of like a standard customer. These maids even offer massages to their patrons as well, so while this might just be a Japanese cultural thing, it's also a rather promiscuous thing to replicate in a show like Pokemon, which they do right down to the characters dressed up in maid outfits, and they even kind of hint at the fact that it's like a pleasurable thing to go do, because in the episode they show some guys coming into the cafe all excited only to be disappointed when Ash is the one who is there to serve them. Also, wouldn't you know it, but Miltank is also involved in this episode as well. So basically, Miltank is like the harbinger of all sexual adult content in the Pokemon franchise, and as a big old cow, that is kind of concerning. Okay, so up next is something that is kinda silly more than anything, but it is surprising to see it within Pokemon, especially for the time that it was included. Once again, in the Pokemon anime, there's an episode from the Johto arc titled The Fortune Hunters, and in this episode, there's a moment where James appears wearing a full-body Moltres suit. He describes himself as flaming, and, well, this is what is said about it.
That outfit! Where'd he get it?
I think that costume came right out of his closet.
So yeah, Pokemon legitimately made a joke about James being gay, and that was definitely something they slipped in for the older audience, cause young kids obviously aren't gonna catch that. It kinda makes sense seeing moments like this in more recent stuff, because the audience of Pokemon has obviously aged, but to see something like this back in one of the earlier episodes of the series, especially because of the subject matter, it's pretty surprising and eyebrow-raising, but they also pulled it off in a pretty funny way, and these are the kinds of things that make for more memorable moments, so as surprising as it is, it's also pretty enjoyable. Finally, it wouldn't be a video talking about adult moments in Pokémon if we didn't talk about the manga, because the various Pokémon manga are easily the most mature thing in the entire franchise. There's tons of sexual stuff, there's tons of gore and violence, and Pokémon just straight up getting killed, and in today's example, there's also what could only be described as a terrorist attack. So, in the Pokémon Adventures manga, Lance, the leader of the Kanto Elite Four, is not a good guy. He is, in fact, a bad guy, and he's so bad that he actually destroys Vermilion City, just straight up blows it up into smithereens. In Chapter 61, Lance has his Dragonair use Hyper Beam on Vermilion City and literally destroys it. I mean, just look at the art. The city literally explodes and people are being swept away in the water below, probably about to drown. In fact, the goal of the Elite Four in the manga is to basically kill everyone who don't treat Pokemon well enough. So they're more or less trying to commit mass murder here as well, as if destroying an entire city wasn't bad enough already. And unlike the games or the anime, the manga does not tiptoe around when it comes to letting you know about things like that. The manga is definitely far darker than anything else that Pokemon has to offer, and has given us some of the most adult moments that the franchise has ever seen. Well, there you have it. 10 more times that Pokemon got very adult. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be back with another video very soon, and until then, as always, I love you guys very much, thanks for watching, and I will smell you guys later.